Hey, everybody, welcome to The Blacklist, the show where we interview the elite. And today we have a special guest. To my right, we have Rosa Rodriguez. And Rosa, for people that don't know you, give yourself an introduction. Who are you?
My name is Rosa Rodriguez, and I'm a coach. I help high ticket coaches create their program. So,
Yeah,
even if you're a mompreneur, even if you're working a 9 to 5, I help you create a business basically from point A to point B, the whole thing. And that I do all of that just to save you some time. So,
yeah,
because time is the most important asset that we have.
I agree. I agree. And the thing that I like about your stuff the most is, you know, the mompreneur thing, I think is like not talked about enough, right? A lot of, mothers I think are traditionally have to stay at home, take care of the kids, or, do the 9 to 5, come back home, cook, clean, do all that type of stuff. But I think with you, you're kind of helping bridge the gap where it's like, no, you can make money too.
Right.
And you can, stay at home still, but work, make
Yeah.
some good money, and do the stuff that you like to do. The money doesn't necessarily always have to come from the man, right?
Exactly. Absolutely. And I think that we have to start changing the narrative around mompreneurs. And I'm here to do that, right?
Yeah,
I'm here to start spreading the word that you can do that and this. So it doesn't
right.
have to be this or that. It can be both.
Yeah,
So I teach people how to make sure that they build a business around their life and not a life around their business.
I
So
like that.
yeah.
It's good. And why high ticket? I mean, I feel like I understand why, but
Yeah.
why out of everything, why are you helping them do high ticket programs?
I think high ticket because it saves you time,
Yeah.
number one. And because when you do high ticket, you are able to deliver, I think, a better quality product.
Yep.
And also at the same time, if someone is paying you high ticket, then they will put in the work. They are going
Yeah.
to take action, right? How many times do we have something that we got for free that we didn't even look at it, right? We
Yep.
didn't even open
100%.
it. So
Yeah.
see, that's why high ticket is like the perfect offer, the perfect program for a mompreneur.
Yeah, I would also say that, like, for a mompreneur, if they do high ticket, it kind of takes them out of the 9 to 5 because something
Yeah.
that, like, let's say whatever they would make in a month, they're now making in a couple of days or, something like that. So I also think like it just helps out time wise, it helps out money wise, all that stuff. And how did you get kind of into this industry?
Well, I got into this industry by, just looking at my dad, first of all, being an entrepreneur his
Yeah.
entire life, and seeing him, go through some of the struggles that he went through. And in back in 2014, he decided to sell his business, right? So he said, I am done with the business. I'm going to sell it.
Yeah.
He was really tired of just working inside of his business so much.
Right.
So a couple of months after he retired and sold his business, he was diagnosed with cancer.
Fuck.
So then, maybe 45 days after he was diagnosed, he passed.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like the most shocking experience of my life, but it taught me a great lesson. If I'm going to build something that makes a big impact in the world, I need to make sure that I build it around my time and not
Yeah.
the other way around. So,
Right.
yeah, so that's what I started to dedicate myself to, looking for people that wanted to build businesses. I had a background in finance and accounting for about 15 years. And I said, you know what, I surely can find someone to help with this. So,
Yeah. 100%.
so yeah, I started back in 2016, and just sharing my story and sharing my grief without filter, basically. And I attracted a big audience on Instagram
Yeah.
because of that, because I was just sharing from my heart. And I think a lot of people are missing that, especially these days with all the noise and with all the distractions that we have.
Yep, yep. You were
Yeah.
being vulnerable and in a place where a lot of people I think can relate, and
Yeah.
because of that, they just kind of gravitated towards you, your story, and all that stuff. And I really
Yeah.
like that you said, you're building it around the time that you have, not the other way around, right? Where it's like kind
Right.
of, people are usually in business. I think they're in rat races, right? Where they're like
Right.
constantly on the hustle, and they
Yes.
get tired and all that stuff. How does it
Yeah.
look like for you? What's your like day to day look like?
See, I was actually speaking to someone about this morning, because she asked me, "Hey, how do you do all this stuff? And you have 3 kids. How do you handle, and you travel
That's a
and
lot.
do
Yeah, that is a lot.
right? I do all of these things, and it's because I decided that I was going to invest in a team.
Yeah,
So, having someone who helps with each part of the business, not just thinking that I am the one responsible with doing everything.
right, right. And I think at first people are like, "Oh my God, I got to do everything. There's nobody better than me." Like,
Right.
right? So how did you get over that, hurdle where you're like, "No, I need to let go and I
Yeah.
need to give confidence to my team." Like, yeah.
See, the first thing is, thinking that you are not ready to hire until you've gotten some results,
Right,
right?
right.
That you're like, no, you're supposed to make sure that you save your money, that whatever you're getting into the business, and make sure that you put that back into the business. But how?
Yep.
How do I do that? And it took me a few years actually to get to the point where I said, okay, I need to hire a VA,
Yeah.
or I need to hire a copywriter. I need to hire someone to do PR,
Yeah.
right? But once I decided to, okay, this is what I need to actually grow my business. If I stay stuck in the solopreneur mentality,
Yeah.
you're never going to grow. And I'm sure you've experienced that too, that, once you open that door, that you're just like, you know what, I can trust people with my brand.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and sometimes we have that like perfectionist mentality, right? And we're like, no one can do it better than me. No one can share or talk about my brand better than I can, or
Right.
do this copy better than I can, because I'm the one that is supposed to be doing these things. And
Yeah.
actually you need to, start letting go. And that's the most important thing. I think letting go of control, because that's the only way you're going to grow. You have to allow people to help you. It takes more than one person to build a great business.
Agreed. And I think, going back to the time thing, if it's just you, you're
Yeah.
always going to be stuck because a business doesn't just revolve around one thing. It's like,
Yeah.
you got the finances you got to manage, you
Yeah.
got client fulfillment you got to do, you got marketing, you got to bring in clients, you got to do the sales. It's like it's a lot if you did it by yourself all the time, right?
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
at what stage do you help like your clients kind of make that transition? When they're working with you, do they? I'm assuming they don't have the team yet, right?
Right.
So yeah, from scratch, and then they're going to to a point where yeah, I'm creating a program or whatever that is,
Yeah.
and then I'm hiring a team. So at what point do you think it's like
So the first thing that I tell people, you're going to be ready to hire before you feel ready to hire.
so true, so true?
Right. And like we work with I work with women that are busy all the time, and that have kids, and
Yep.
sometimes they're working full time, and they're trying to take this like side hustle to a full-time business, but they don't know that the first thing they need to do is like get let some control go,
Yeah.
so that they can actually turn the side hustle into a full-time business.
Right.
So we do create the offer first.
Good.
That
Good.
is the
Yeah.
most important thing. We create the offer first. We test that out and
Yep.
see, like, okay, how many people are interested in this thing that I have to offer? And if we see a good traction on that, then we start putting things together.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that we want to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Because on this show, The Blacklist, like the main thing is about finding hacks to life,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Everybody on this show has some sort of hack that they've used and leveraged, and it's gotten them so many places.
Yep.
I think that's one of them that I think not too many people talk about is
Yeah.
like selling something before it's even built to see if the market is ready for it.
Right.
So, how do you determine, if something is a good fit for others? Like, are people just posting about it and seeing if anybody bites, or how does that look like?
Well, first thing you need to do is know your customer,
Right.
right? That's like the number one thing. You're going to know who it is that you're selling to, and what are their, the problems that they're having, and also what are the excuses that they have in
Yep.
mind
Yep.
that prevent them to buy your product, right?
Yeah.
So you have to offer solutions before they even come to you, right?
Right.
And that is like why content is also really important, creating that solution driven environment for them, so that they can see themselves in you before they even get on a call with you.
Right. Yeah. I
Right.
like that. Yep. Yeah.
Okay. And once you have that, once you have that inside your offer, you have these solutions inside your offer, then you can say, these these people that are looking for these solutions are already, sold.
Yeah.
All I need to do is find them or help them find me,
Yep.
which is why we do PR
Yeah. Yeah.
and why that's important.
Yep.
But knowing that, once you have something that is like an irresistible offer, then people, are going to be attracted to that.
Yeah. I want to talk about that really quick because I don't think too many people know what an irresistible offer is.
Mm-hmm.
People will put up an offer, but it's definitely not irresistible. It's just
Right.
something that they think is what people need.
Right.
How do you go about determining what irresistible offer is?
Well, I went asking people. I started, kind of doing surveying some of
Yeah.
my customers, clients, and I didn't feel afraid to ask, like, what would make this even more enticing to you, or if this is not the right time for you, what would make it the right time?
Right. Right.
What would be the thing that would say, like, absolutely yes
Yeah.
to an offer like this? And some of that was, like adding team members or helping them find those team members
Yeah.
that made it more irresistible. Like, okay, so you're going to save me time, you're going to save me effort,
Yeah. And
and
you're gonna find these people for
and
me
you're going to
and that.
find these people for me. So how much of that help, how much effort can I relieve from my customer? And until
Yeah.
you get to a point where they're like, oh, okay, I don't care how much you're charging.
Yeah. It's like you're solving their need, their pain.
Right, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So that's it took me a while. I went through a few offers before I got to the right one.
Right.
And it's also what it is. It was also kind of like in my own journey, the things that I felt like I needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. The thing
I see
that
that.
like made me go from, doing free clients to actually paid clients.
Yep.
What got me over that hump was the thing that I felt like, wow, if someone has this, they can really get their business going immediately.
Yeah.
So then that's when I started offering that. And also, not, some people have rules around offers when there are no rules.
Yeah.
Right? You can
Yeah.
add whatever it is that you want to add for your customers, whatever makes it better for them.
It's true. That's
So
true.
it could be a ticket to a conference was actually what the thing
Yeah.
I offered in my last offer, and that was a 10K offer.
Yeah.
So I was just, I had this ticket, and I said, hey, why not make this part of my offer? Okay.
Right.
Someone raised their hand, and that's it. It was gone.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that you mentioned that people might have missed is
Yeah.
like, I really like that you said you surveyed your customers because
Right.
I don't think too many people do that when it's like really important that you do. You get feedback from them because
Yes.
they're going to tell you exactly what they're looking for, exactly what they need.
Right.
Right. Then you can literally make it, based off of the feedback that you're getting. But I think too many people pretend that they know what their client needs and try to
Right.
determine what that is instead of literally just asking them.
Right.
So
Just ask. Just
yeah.
ask.
So that's good because you're making the offer, like you said, irresistible. You're making it better to the point where it's like a no-brainer for them to move forward.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
One thing that I wanted to mention that you kind of talked about a little bit before is what type of hurdle I think the biggest hurdle, and this is me guessing because I don't know, is like when you're working with somebody that has to make the jump from like have 3 kids, I have a 9 to 5. I want to make the side hustle work so that way I can have more free time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of women, and you can let me know if I'm right or wrong, but they're probably thinking like, I cannot do that. I don't have
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
And especially women, I feel like you're like, I don't have time.
Yes.
I have to do this for my husband. I have to do this for the kids. I still have to work, right?
Yeah.
How do you help them get over that?
And I actually, I feel like this is really important for women to hear. It's not that you don't have time, it's that you don't have enough boundaries around your time.
Explain more. Explain more.
All right. So when sometimes we feel like we need to be the perfect mom or the
Right.
perfect wife or the perfect sister or daughter, right? To all these different people, and you forget about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you forget to take care of you and you lose your identity to, I'm the mother. I need to make sure that the kids get fed first, that the kids are taken care of first.
Right.
But you don't make time for your dreams. You don't make time for your aspirations when that is the thing that is actually feeding your soul.
Yeah.
Right. And you get lost in that for so long that sometimes you forget, like, hey, there's a person in there behind the mom, behind the
Yeah.
wife, behind all those things. So you need to start, setting boundaries around when is your time,
Yeah.
right? When is your time? Your time needs to be a non-negotiable,
Yeah.
right? So yes, we play around with the time that is supposed to be for us so much
That's
that we
true.
forget to take it. So yeah, and if once you do that, once you pass that, once you apply those boundaries, then you're gonna find out that you had actually all the time that you needed.
Yeah. I love that quote so much, that women play around with the time that they have.
Yeah.
And fuck, what was that last part? And then you said, oh, that you forget you have it, you know?
Right.
I
Yeah.
think that's so powerful. I think for a lot of women out there, like
Yeah.
that's definitely a quote, because it's so
Yeah.
true. Their time is not as valuable to them, I think, than it
Yeah.
is if they give it to everybody else. Because
Right.
I know a lot of women, my mom, my girlfriend, all that stuff, like they literally give their time away. That's what they give,
Yeah. Right.
and yeah, they don't have time for their stuff, their
And
passions.
like, my whole thing is time is your most valuable asset.
Yeah.
So if you're giving the most valuable asset that you have away, then, you're not going to be able to create something for yourself, or you're not going to be able to give that time to the things that actually matter to you. So
Yeah. Let's break it down on like a day-to-day basis, because it sounds good,
yeah.
but they
Yeah.
might be like,
How do I do
yeah,
this?
exactly.
Yeah.
So where do they start? Where do they start putting in time for their stuff? Is it in the morning, later in the day, lunch, what?
And so, I have, and my husband is outside. He knows that um, I have time during, like I have a set time every day from like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to
Yeah.
work on my business, and that is a non-negotiable.
Right.
So, during that time, obviously, if things come up, then that's okay. But I have a time. I have 10 o'clock to 2 p.m. That's my time. And I have someone who is taking care of the kids, who helps me with the kids, helps with the cleaning the house
Yeah.
and
Damn,
and all
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So and it's not I used to think that made me, not a great mom, because I was having someone else help me.
Yeah.
And I had to get over that mentality in order to get here.
Yeah.
Like, I feel good. I love, the person that is helping me with the kids loves the kids also. I love her because she's helping me with the
Yep, yep.
kids. And, whenever I can't take my son to like a game, or I can't take him to a school activity, then, dad's there. So
Right.
I have to, even though sometimes it's like, oh, how do I make them understand that I am not negotiating this. This is the time that I have for this.
Yep.
Or I'm going live on Instagram or something like that. And okay, I need you to do this.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And at the beginning, when you're in that transition of like, I used to be a people pleaser. I used to have to give my time away to anyone. Now, when those people are like accustomed to you saying yes, and
Yeah.
then when you start saying no,
It's like,
then
what
it's
the
a
fuck?
what? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, hold on, what's happening here?
And you talk to them about it first, or you just like
Yeah.
done? It's
I had some conversations that were tough, like with my mom. I was like,
yeah.
listen, mom, I know that, sometimes you need me to like call the cable
Yep.
bill and pay that, or, like call this doctor and translate and all of these
Yep. Yep.
things. But I can't do that right now because I'm focusing on this. So, she'll stop like calling 3 times back to back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and with my husband as well, like I just tell him, I know that you took him yesterday to karate, but I need you to take him again today
Yeah.
or the next time, because I need this time to take care of myself or to take care of my business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I would say that you need to really, did you have to like sit down with your partner to kind of discuss that stuff? Because I
yes.
feel like, for if let's say somebody was trying to get out of the 9 to 5 and they're doing this side stuff,
Yeah.
and the husband might get, pissed.
Oh
They're
yeah.
like, what the
Yeah.
hell? Like,
Yeah, and not just that, but I feel like I'm also changing and evolving in this process.
yeah.
So, sometimes it could be that you're in a relationship and you're kind of going in completely different directions, right? Because
And then what
I'm
happens
growing,
there?
and maybe he's not understanding, or he's not like on the same page as me, and then you have to regroup and say, listen,
Oh yeah.
we are not on the same page. We need to make sure that we talk about this,
Yep.
because if not, it's going to go too far and we're going to be too far from each other. So
Yeah.
you have to, that was actually a conversation that we had. So it was just like, we're going far away from each other. We need to come back.
I like that.
So
And I feel like there has to be a level of pride that gets let go.
yeah.
Let go. I don't even think
Yeah.
that's a word.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's true, because you both have to lower your guard
yeah.
and be able to say, okay, I hear you and I see you. Now let's have this conversation. And
Right.
we both have to kind of sacrifice something
Yeah,
and meet in the
exactly.
middle. Like, it's not just all like, okay, Rosa needs this and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is okay. How can I meet your needs, and how can you meet mine?
Yeah.
So that we're kind of like create a balance in the
Right.
relationship.
So what do you sacrifice then? Like, let's say you get that time period, that time block. What do you do?
And so I have to make sure that I attend to him when there's times that I'm like, all right, he's over there in the back, like, you need to give me a massage, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, well, let me shoot this video real quick and I'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. And maybe cooking sometimes, I'm like, I can't cook right now, but I can order you food.
Right. Right.
We got, Uber Eats.
Yep. Yep.
We'll do that. How about that? Whatever you want,
Yeah. That's good though, because like it's not like it's just it's Rosa time and that's it. It's
Right.
more like, look, I'm taking the time that I need for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But hey, you need something, like if I can't
Right.
do it right now, well, whatever. Like I'll do it
Yeah.
right
We'll make sure.
after. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think one really great thing is being present in whatever it is that you're doing.
I feel like that's hard.
Yeah, it is. But it is, especially for us, because we have our cell phones,
Yeah.
but like having time with, for me, like with the kids, that I'm like fully immersed in, like, just loving them and,
Yeah.
just being with them in that moment, that my phone is somewhere else, and I'm like,
Mm.
okay, let's just have, time, mom time.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna ask you. So like when you clock off, do you clock off like actually?
No, I
No.
don't. No. I mean, because I love what I do so much,
Yeah.
that like, I pick up the phone and I'm like, and then I remember I have to catch myself, like, okay, hold on, put it back.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge, obviously, because and I'm sure that happens to you as
Same.
well,
Yep.
that you're just like, oh, I love what I do.
Yeah.
So
I'm like on my phone, and then my girlfriend's like, "Hey, like I'm up here," I'm like, "Oh,
Oh, yeah.
shit, my bad,"
right.
Like, yeah.
So yeah, he's like, okay, are you done? Like, are
Yeah.
you done? And I'm like, 1 second, I'm
Same.
posting this thing right here.
Yep. I
Right.
understand
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
No, that's
But
good. And I think, I think that's good. I think like the people that you're helping out, very, very huge. I think that's a big need, like 100%. Like I wish there was more people that would help out, mompreneurs.
yeah.
And yeah, I think that's really good.
Yeah.
So one thing that I think you are very good at, and that I just noted is noticed you are very, very aware
Yeah.
of everything. So it's not like I feel like time is something that you are in full control of versus it being in control of you, because
Right.
you understand, like you're not in reactive mode where like if something's happening, you're not like, oh fuck, I got to do this, whatever.
Yeah.
It's very much like, yeah, I'm gonna attend to you right now. Like let me do this, let me get this. Like you're
Right.
very calm and collected. Was it hard to kind of get to that spot, that space? Because I think
Yeah.
that's a mental kind of
Yeah.
space, right?
It is. And, I feel like it took time for me to create the boundaries that I have right now around time. But I thought that it was important enough for me that I would actually follow up and build that awareness around
Yeah.
everything that I do, so that, I know that if my kids are, like, okay, this is time to give them some attention right now, that I'm aware that even though I'm doing something at the moment, I am going to then give my full attention to them right after.
Yeah.
So, it's just kind of like finding that balance, and there's really no like manual, no rule book to
No,
it. You,
it's
you
not.
just find your own balance to it, and just make sure that everyone gets a little bit of attention.
Yeah. Let's talk about an obstacle that you faced. What was one, because, in business, there's so many, right? There's like,
Hmm.
it always happens. But
Yeah.
what was one obstacle that you had, whether it was in business or in your personal life, other than, like what happened with your father,
Yeah.
that like kind of really set you back, that it was like really difficult?
In business, it was actually, I started coaching for free, and I was just like, okay, I am going to just help people and get these testimonials,
Yep.
and I'm going to build my list, and basically all the things that people told me I was supposed to do.
Yep.
So I'm just waiting to build my list, build my list, build my list, and then I realized that 4 years had gone by, and
Holy
I n-
crap.
and I n- and I didn't even have my first paid customer.
Yeah.
So I was like, what is happening? Am I behind?
Yeah.
Am I doing something wrong? Because I'm doing all the things that people told me to do. Like,
Yep.
you're supposed to give for free. You're supposed to do this free, get testimonials, get all these things. And then when you're ready,
Yeah. I know, right?
like, when is that? Is it now after the fourth year?
Yeah. Yeah. For real.
When you're ready. Okay, so then I feel like I could have been charging way, way
You could have
before
made money
that.
at least,
Right,
within those
at
4 years.
least,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
So,
how long do you, because, yeah, I agree with that. No, it took me 2 years to make my first dime, but that's because people are always like, do things for free, all that stuff,
right,
right? It's like,
exactly.
still got to pay my bills.
Yeah,
Like,
how do I do that?
yeah. So how do you like, what time frame is it from when a client starts working with you, where you're like, okay, now it's time to start, charging and, making money and things like that?
Yeah, I think that when I decided that I was going to start charging, that I was like, okay, this is insane. Why haven't I charged for these services?
Yeah.
Um, I gave people a couple of weeks of, I said, okay, now that I'm going to start charging for these services, let me reach out to people and say, hey, can I provide you some service for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I'll do like a Instagram, audit for you, and then I'll give you some action items, and then in 2 weeks, I'll come back and check on you to see how it's going and
Yeah.
see if you've done any changes.
Yeah.
And after that, those people then started, talking to me about, further, like, doing more work,
Because they
like
saw your
paid
work, they
work.
liked it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that's all it takes. Just show someone that
Yeah.
you can. And, once you have that trust in that relationship, then you can move to paid and see, hey, do you feel like this was helpful? And do you feel like I can help you
Right.
more? Because obviously what you've done during these past couple of weeks has helped you a lot. So
Yeah. Yeah.
this is,
That's super
yeah.
smart, right? You're doing the free work
Yeah.
until it works for like maybe in 2 weeks or
Yeah.
4 weeks, whatever,
Yeah.
and then start charging.
Right.
You show
Exactly.
your value, and then boom, start getting paid.
Right. Exactly. I think that's perfect.
I like it. So,
Yeah.
what's one piece of advice that you'd give to any entrepreneur kind of starting out?
To just start before you're ready. Get yourself out there, connect with people, and start following up with people and building those relationships, because I feel like that is what's going to get you to that paid, level. Sometimes people will buy from you, but it's not because, the things that you are putting on social media, but because they trust you.
Yeah, 100%.
So start gaining that trust and start building those relationships, because those people are the people that are going to become your customers, and not your customers, but could be friendships that will last forever. So
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. And then, where can people find you?
well, I am on Instagram. I am Rosa Rodriguez
Yep.
on Instagram, and I am also on TikTok. I am dot Rosa Rodriguez. I
Yeah.
tripped over that. And on Twitter, I am Coach Rosa, and that's it. I'm also on Facebook, Rosa Rodriguez, and on YouTube, Rosa Rodriguez as well.
All right. Well, before we finish, what's the future look like for you? What are you looking to accomplish?
Ooh, Whew, I am looking to help in the next 6 months, maybe about 100 women leave their 9 to 5 so that they can pursue their dream full time. So
Powerful.
that is good.
I love it. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much. You crushed it.
Thank you. I really appreciate this. Thank you for having me. I
No
had so
problem.
much fun.
Perfect.
All right.